You've done your mother proud. What a beautiful woman. What a beautiful woman. I overheard the other day at the end of a meeting, two women speaking together, and I had never heard such a thing or even bothered to notice. But one said to the other of Connie, she had the most beautiful hands of anybody I've ever seen. That she raved about her fingers, that they were the prettiest, long, straight, thin, graceful, and always well manicured. And then they looped back around again, speaking how they wished they'd had Connie's hands. I hadn't noticed. But if Connie was beautiful, and she was, beautiful right down to her fingertips, she was also beautiful within. And although I completely missed her fingers, I never missed her soul. I'm forced to begin in rather an odd place, I admit. And I found this curious in recent days. The words kept coming from me. One day when I was driving from your home hall in Blue Mounds, provide some time to think, but at other times when I was sitting at my desk pondering, when I was in prayer, the words were curious, and they kept coming. So I decided I must repeat them now. First, laying his eyes on Santa, what does Father say? A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. That's the phrase that kept arising from my memory as I thought of Connie. I had nothing to dread in her. I mean, what else does it suggest? Why would this arise in me, and to what was it pointing? To enter into Connie's presence, even without a wink of her eye or a twist of her head, was to find myself in a place where I knew I was safe. There was something about her entire demeanor, perhaps even an aura about her, that before speaking a word, spoke of her readiness to receive into her presence without judgment, suspicion, without fear. Whenever I was with her, or as I watched her move through the congregation in earlier days, and I do watch this congregation move, her countenance always conveyed welcome, fondness, gentleness, kindness. Hers was a space where who you are was always good enough, if not great. One was embraced by Connie, who held you safely in her friendship. And all this is before her ever saying a word. And then when she spoke, she took us deeper into her presence. Never a hard word, a harsh word, a coarse word, a demeaning word. Hers was a safety born of good virtue. She was glad for our presence with her, and we were glad, and even more so, for hers with us. Before her family speaks to the stories of her life, of which I am not privy, as her pastor for 28 years, as her friend, as a one-time neighbor living just around the block, and Hall never figured out why I would walk by his house so often when his smoker was going. Let me speak now of her character. It is said that we are all known by the company that we keep. We are all known by the company that we keep. Some company we cast aside. But the company she kept, she chose Hall. And she kept Hall's company year after year after year. Look at Hall over there. What does that tell you? 55 years of company together. So long ago they made those vows. In sickness and in health, for better and for worse. To those young starry-eyed brides that I see at the head of this aisle, those words seem far removed. Yet these are the vows for the long haul. As her well-being inched slowly away, the company Connie had chosen to keep in Hall kept keeping. And I mean this, for year after year, was it 3 years, at least 4 years, maybe, perhaps well into 5 years, Hall never left her side. The vows in sickness and for worse had tilted to the heaviest end of the scale. And yet Hall was there. And so even though this is about Connie, it is also about you, Hall, and I want to say a personal word about your dedication, your vast devotion. I watched you time after time there at the house, and I must say, Connie chose well. Connie chose well. There is nothing you did not do, there was nothing you did not offer. And even when some of us tried to pry you away, and you know I did, there was a vow against which my leverage could not budge. You all are the character with whom she decided to keep company. And let her character be made known whenever we look at Hall. Well done, my brother. So well done, and more so. In those same starry-eyed wedding vows, there is also that part for richer, for poorer. One thing we know for sure, and Hall does also, Connie did not marry him for his money. Hall was an underpaid Milwaukee school teacher who had to scrape, beg, borrow, he didn't steal, funds to court her. And yet I wonder if it was the courtship or the courter that won her over. She didn't marry for money, and neither did she grumble. And across the distance of the years, as their fortunes grew, Hall said she still never asked for anything. She was content. It seems hers was the wisdom to know the true value of life. And the true value of life is shared in love. And in that, she had been rich from the beginning. Paul was no pauper. And poverty couldn't reduce that love, and fortune wouldn't increase it. There was only one way she could increase her wealth. But perhaps it's in two ways. The addition of a son and a daughter, both of whom she adores. This was the wealth in which she invested herself, and no matter what she was doing, she would make sure that she was always making fresh deposits in their accounts, never missing a hockey game or a ballet recital. And just to clarify, Eric was into hockey and Eve was into ballet. I should also tell you that I asked Eve if she would do some ballet for us today, and she declined. The powers in this room during the reception could change her mind. And Eve, there is a stage down there. Returning to her Christian character, she walked in a great humility. A humility filled with poise and presence. Knowing who she was, she had no need to constantly tell us. She had no need to tell us as if in our knowing and our praising her, we could somehow confirm the strength of who she was. But she knew that already. She was, I was astonished to learn after at least a decade of knowing her, that she was a biochemist at the university, engaging in cutting-edge research, and she even holds several patents on things about which I have no clue, despite her readiness to explain them to me. I never had a clue about those patents or the magnitude of her intelligence and career. All I knew is she carried in herself an inherent wisdom which could be seen. Humble as Christ was humble. Now, in describing Christian virtue, the Apostle Paul lists love, joy, patience, kindness, gentleness, What does that sound like? Well, the world hears those words and thinks anyone who is really like that is something of a patsy, a pushover. In our competitive winner-take-all time, gentleness is thought a sense of anemia. Patience, a sign of shyness and a lack of self-assertion. Oh, the poor world misses all that the apostle says. Love, joy, patience, kindness, gentleness, all these, he says, come to us from the Spirit. And if they come to us from the Spirit, they are grounded in God. And if they are grounded in God, they are the greatest power in the universe. Love, joy, patience, kindness, gentleness. This is the thing that changes lives. And these are the things we pray will sometime sway this world. Connie was sturdy, powerful in her gentleness and strong in her patience, unquenchable her love, inexhaustible her kindness, ever steady in joy because her soul was grounded and deeply rooted in God. And from those roots, her sturdy character kept strong, in season and out. Now I gradually but increasingly understand those curious words which continued to rise within me. I had nothing to dread. Her presence was a safe place to be, for hers was a backbone of virtue. Powerfully gentle, a wise soul, who wouldn't be knocked away from gentleness, and her patience never rushed aside, even in illness. She faced her increasing infirmity with patience, gently facing each day, gentle in those final days when she could scarcely lift her head and but blink at the kiss I gave her. And gently she passed. As in life, so also with her passing, the kindness of her soul, well remembered, still holds us safely as long as we remember her, holds us safely as God safely holds her now. Thanks be to God. And now, two accounts of her great love.